Welcome to Academic Success for Non-Native English Speakers. This is presented by the Learning Commons. And before I get started, I want to introduce a little bit about me and who I am. My name is Joe, and I'm on the left. And I am a tutor at College of DuPage, and I'm also currently a student at North Central College. My job here is to help students develop their English skills and also work with students who are looking to develop their study skills as well. One of my main responsibilities here at College of DuPage are the ELA conversation circles, where I work with students in groups to practice and develop all their English skills and their conversation skills in everyday situations like restaurants, doctors' offices, all sorts of different places. And it's a lot of fun. Some of my goals for today that I want to talk with you about is to be in control, be successful, and be positive, as well as an effective student in any course you're taking, whether it's a course that's going to develop your English skills or it's an academic college course. So I wanted to ask you just to take a second, how do non-native English students become successful? And try to think of at least 3 things if you can. Take a couple minutes and see if you can come up with 3 things. Here are some things that I came up with to kind of practice your English skills, like thinking in English, practicing English every day, asking for help if you need it, participating in class, and being positive. So some of those things on the post-it notes we're gonna talk about in more depth. And one of the things that I wanted to talk with you about are how to develop your English conversation skills, as well as some study skills. This is just kind of like a quick video about it's about the English language and kind of how difficult it is.
English is crazy. In what other language do you recite at a play but play at a recital? Or ship by truck but send cargo by ship? We have noses that run and feet that smell, and though writers write, hammers definitely don't ham. You fill in a form by filling it out, and your alarm goes off by going on. And why is it that a slim chance and a fat chance are the same thing, but a wise man and a wise guy are opposites? But this is where it gets even more confusing. If you speak of a box, then the plural is boxes, yet the plural of ox should be oxen, not oxes. Then one is a goose, and 2 are called geese, yet the plural of moose should never be meese. And I speak of a foot, and you show me your feet, but I give a boot. Would a pair be called beat? And we talk of a brother and also of brethren, but though we say mother, we never say methrin. The masculine pronouns are he, his, and him, but imagine the feminine she, shiz, and shim. And I take it you already know of tough and bow and cough and dough. Beware of herd, a dreadful word that looks like beard and sounds like bird. And dead, it's said like bed, not bead. For goodness sakes, don't call it deed. Watch out for meat and great and threat. They rhyme with sweet and straight and debt. And here is not a match for there, and deer and fear for bear and pear. And then there's dose and rose and lose, just look them up, and goose and choose. And cork and work and card and ward and font and front and word and sword and do and go and thwart and cart. Come on, I've hardly made a start. A dreadful language? Well, man alive, I learned to talk it when I was 5, but to write it, the more I try, I still haven't learned it at 25.
So I know English is crazy and it can be a really difficult language to understand and learn. And one of the popular questions that I get asked by all the students that I tutor and work with is, what is the fastest way to learn English? And really there's really no fast way to do it. It takes a lot of practice, doing it every day. And really kind of just continuing on and just to keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. One of the things that you should do if you really want to learn is to immerse yourself. And immerse it's a really big word, and it means to surround yourself. To immerse yourself in English would be to surround yourself. So for example, some really simple tips. Watching English-speaking television shows and the news. Easy tip, also listening to the radio. We notice our students really love National Public Radio. The station is 91.5 FM, and they talk about all sorts of things. Movie reviews, current events happening in the United States as well as around the world. You get to hear a lot of different speakers and voices. Another tip that we wanted to give you is to go on YouTube and you can type Learning English Podcasts, or you can type in TED Talks, and what you'll find are a lot of videos, a lot of different speakers about different topics. The Learning English podcasts are great. There's a lot of grammar, conversational English, and then the TED Talks are different presentations about all sorts of topics, including language learning and how to learn any kind of language efficiently. In addition to going on YouTube, you can also search for things like fashion, sports, or food, anything that you're really interested in. Can just kind of you can hear English. If you like fashion, you can listen to people talk about fashion online, and it's just another voice to hear and really help you with your listening skills. We also wanted to say, try putting your phone and any of your social media settings in English. We notice a lot of our students, their phones will be in Spanish or whatever their native language is. If you can, try to put it into English, and again, that's going to kind of force you to think in English and use English in your everyday life. We also wanted to recommend practicing your speaking skills with natives as well as non-natives. We realize that in your class you're going to probably run into people that may speak the same language with you, and that's really good, but try to speak in English as much as you can with all the students. And in your classroom you have an awesome opportunity to practice with anybody around you, and it can be really simple, like asking how did that test go, or how was the homework, just to get you really speaking and practicing your listening skills as well. I come from a really large Italian family, and a lot of them are still learning English, and some of them are taking classes at college at DuPage, and I see sometimes that they struggle, and also sometimes they go home and all they do is speak in Italian, so they don't get a chance to practice too much. If you're ever at home and you don't have anybody to practice with, you can always practice with yourself. Currently I'm learning Romanian, and I have nobody at home to practice with. So sometimes I will talk to myself. Any vocabulary that I see, I will say it in Romanian just so I can practice and just keep repeating the language and reinforcing it and practicing. So there's really no excuses. There's always some way that you can always be practicing and surrounding yourself with English. Another thing that we wanted to recommend is to practice your listening and reading skills. And our students love to read newspapers, and that's just kind of one way that you can practice. We often encourage students to read out loud, so reading a newspaper, magazine articles online. Practice reading that and then reading it out loud, so you can hear and you can really try to pronunciate all the words correctly. Anywhere you go, there will always be an opportunity for you to read or listen, whether it's with a newspaper or it's something on your phone or computer. There's always a good way for you to practice. In addition to listening and reading, we also want you to practice writing too. And with some of our students, we notice that they keep word diaries or a word journal where any new vocabulary word they come across, they write it down in their little journal, they look up a definition, and then they use the word in a sentence or two to help again kind of reinforce what the word means and to practice writing. The more you do any of these skills, whether it's writing or speaking or listening, the better you'll get. So again, the more you practice, the stronger those skills will become. We also wanted to talk about a few really awesome apps that we found as we were researching this presentation, and a lot of these apps our students use. The first one is Duolingo, and all these apps, they're free and they're available across all the platforms, and they're really good if you're looking to practice, kind of by yourself. And Duolingo is it's a combination of using pictures and little mini games to help you learn a language. It's like I said, it's free and very simple to use, and it just forces you to kind of practice, and it really strengthens and builds your vocabulary skills. Another one that's really popular among my students is Idiomland, and what it does is it gives you what's called an idiom, which is like a special expression, and the one that we put up on the little board here is on the same page, and that is a really famous idiom that we use a lot in the United States, and it'll give you the little phrase at the bottom, it'll give you a picture, and then if you can't guess the meaning of the idiom, it'll give you the definition and some examples of how to use it and where it's often heard. It's really great. And then the last one is WordWeb, which is basically just a really simple dictionary. It'll give you a great easy definition, and then it will give you similar words as well as words that are the opposite and have opposite meanings. So we wanted to talk about study skills for a little bit, and a couple that we're going to talk about are flashcards. When I'm learning Romanian, every new word that I come across, I put it on a flashcard and I put the definition on the back. And what's great about this is it forces me to write, and it really reinforces these words, so I remember them better. Flashcards are great for new vocabulary, and it doesn't have to be English vocabulary either. It could be things for a biology class or a history class. Flashcards are great. A lot of students like using them, and we encourage you to use them as well in your classes or for English vocabulary. We also want to recommend highlighting, and earlier we talked about reading newspapers and magazines. A lot of our students will highlight unknown words. This is kind of an effective strategy if you're looking to build your vocabulary, or if you're taking a class to kind of help you remember these words and make them more memorable to you. When highlighting, we really stress kind of just highlighting vocabulary or key ideas here and there. So you want to avoid what has happened on this picture here. Too much highlighting is bad, so try to stick with vocabulary words and kind of key ideas. In addition to these tips, we feel like one of the most important study skills is looking at your syllabus. And your syllabus contains all that essential, really important information, and it's going to guide you through whatever course you're taking, whether it's a class to help you with your English speaking skills or a class like history or biology. And the syllabus is something we're going to talk more about in the next few slides here, this is going to be about self-advocacy, and you'll get to see where the syllabus plays a really important role in the upcoming slides here. So, what do you think self-advocacy is? Self-advocacy, it's two words, self and advocacy. And self is you, and then advocacy is support. So it's like supporting yourself. And it's something that is a really important skill to have. And we really want our students to be successful and really ask, as many questions as they can and be an active part in their class. So we want you to introduce yourself to your teacher early. And it could be really simple. It's, hi, my name is, I'm really excited about taking your class. English is not my first language. I was wondering if you have any advice for me. These 4 little phrases are really important to making a strong relationship with your instructor, and it lets your teacher know that you're really excited about the class, but you're a little bit nervous because maybe your English skills are not the strongest at the moment. A lot of my Italian family members, I tell them to do this with every class that they take, and it really helps you in building a strong relationship with your teacher. We want you to speak up and ask for help if you need it with your teacher, as well as with your peers. Earlier we talked about the syllabus. I was taking an accounting class last semester, and accounting is something that I really struggled with. And inside the syllabus, my instructor listed his office hours, and he wrote this little note next to it. He said, accounting is very difficult. I'm in my office Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Please stop by. If a drop-in time is too difficult, we can set a better time. He was a really, really cool guy, and I was in his office almost every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And he was always there helping students, and that was part of his job. And he was excited that we were visiting his office hours, because that was a really key component to passing the class, was asking questions before the class started. And there's going to be times when you may not be able to visit your instructor during office hours, and your schedule is really busy with other classes or family things. So what do? One of the things that if you can't visit your instructor, or if you can't ask questions before or after class, or even during because maybe you're a little bit shy, you can always send your instructor an email. And we wanted to give you some tips if you're going to email your instructor. You want to be really careful about choosing an appropriate subject line in greeting. And we encourage you to use your school email, and using your Blackboard account makes emailing really easy. We want you to be polite and specific in your request. We want you to proofread the best that you can, so make sure that there's few errors or no errors. And then we want you to sign your full name, class, course number, and section. So we came up with an example here, and you can kind of just look at it, and you can probably see there's some things wrong with it. And in the subject line, it says, "Hey teacher," and that's very vague and very rude. You want to avoid something like that. You want to, again, be kind of specific. What do you want from your teacher in this subject line? What are you asking for? You want to avoid all caps or all capitalization. And then you want to make sure that your style, your grammar is good. You want to try your best with this. and because this is a reflection of you, so you want to look good for your instructor. So this is kind of an example that you really want to avoid. You don't want to do something like this. Alright, so this is a different example here, and as you can see, we have a clear subject, extension on English Journal number 4. We have a formal greeting. This might be a little too formal. You can always say hi, professor, and then their last name works. You don't always have to use dear. And then in the body of the email, we were really brief, we were specific, and we were professional. And I know when I write emails, I write a lot of emails, sometimes there will be a mistake somewhere that I'll catch after I sent it, and that's going to happen to absolutely everybody. So mistakes do happen, but again, you just want to try your best. If you can have somebody else, read it before you send it, that will be good too. But something like this is going to show to your instructor that you really care and that you're really interested and care about the class and learning all the content. Another thing that we want to talk about, in addition to asking your teacher for help, is starting conversations with your peers and classmates. Anybody that you're taking the class with is going to be an excellent resource to use, whether you need to look at their notes or maybe ask them a question. Building relationships with your peers and classmates is going to be a key component to success in some courses. A lot of the classes that I'm currently taking are very group oriented, so we work a lot in groups and a lot of group projects, and it's just a good skill to have. There may be classes where your teacher just lectures and you don't get a chance to interact with your classmates, but if you can, that would be kind of a good thing to do, and build your confidence for when you do take a class where you'll have to work in groups and partners a lot. It's just something good for you to start practicing now. So, part of self-advocacy is asking questions, and, try not to be afraid. I know I'm really shy, and public speaking is one of my biggest fears, but I always try my best, and, ask for help if I need it. We wanted to talk about setting a positive mindset when you're taking classes and you're learning English. And a lot of students will say, oh, English is really hard, I don't think I'll ever be able to learn it. And we want you to think differently about that. And when I'm learning Romanian, I get really frustrated and really angry sometimes, but I try to think positively about it and how can I learn and grow from these experiences. So try to change your thinking. If you think positively, you'll get positive results. When I was taking classes at College of DuPage and currently at North Central, I have a lot of classes that were kind of scary to me, and I felt really intimidated by those. Probably my two biggest ones were accounting and public speaking. But I always tried my best. I always practiced. I got tutors. I talked with my instructors a lot, and it really, really helped me. So even though English to some of you or any other class may be something that's kind of scary, you can learn it. It's just going to take some practice and some positive thinking. So we want you to try your best with everything here at College of DuPage. Because some days you're gonna have a really bad day, you're gonna feel really frustrated. But if you can think like I'm amazing, like I can do this, I can learn English, I can pass this course, that's really gonna help you out. And you can find the good in every situation. At College of DuPage and at North Central, I was on academic probation, and at that time it seemed really, really negative But there were a lot of positive things that came from that bad situation, where I was able to speak with counselors that taught me a lot of things, taught me organizational skills, taught me some tips to be successful in my classes and in my jobs. Also look out for positive friends, coworkers, and teachers. Surround yourself with positivity. That's going to be a good thing for you. And again, if you think negatively, you're going to get negative results. So try to surround yourself with as much positivity and role models as you can. Anytime that you fail, just remember failures are learning experiences, and you can grow and build from them. Whether it's, you didn't do so well on a quiz or maybe a project, there's always going to be a chance for you to improve and grow and learn from those failures so you don't make them again. And also kind of focus on the present. What are you doing, right now in this moment to be positive or to, be successful in your coursework? Try not to worry too much about the past and if you kind of fumbled or didn't do so well in certain areas. What's important is what's happening right now. So we wanted to leave you with a couple final thoughts, and your positive action and positive thinking result in success. So again, trying to avoid those negative thoughts with whether it's like a hard course like a math course or English. You can do it if you try your best. And we wanted to say too that the Learning Commons is a great place where you can go to get assistance with any subject, any course. It doesn't matter if it's math or English or history or biology. There's always a place for you here where you can get some extra assistance if you're looking for that. And we really encourage you to come visit us in the Learning Commons here. And I really appreciate you listening to this presentation, and thank you very much. And good luck with your semester.